Hi there, this is Matt at State of Flux, here to talk about Matthew Perry. I usually don't really do tribute videos, but this is a case that is different than normal. This is about an individual who was profoundly impactful on who I kind of grew up to be from watching him. And for those that don't know, Matthew Perry passed away this weekend. And that was a death that kind of hit me hard, not only because it was unexpected and shocking, but because he did have such an impact on me. He is a person that wanted to be remembered for being somebody that helped others. He had his own struggles with addiction, and he was very proud of the fact that he would, if anybody came to him asking how to go about recovery, he was able to provide those answers, and he even wrote a self-help book about it this past year, and that's something that he wanted to carry on. But I think more than that, he touched a lot of people. He was the star of an incredibly popular TV show that I would say is probably inarguably the fan favorite of that show. But he wasn't only that show. He had a lot in his range, and he is one of those individuals that sort of taught me about comedic timing. I think the character of Chandler Bing, along with the character of Xander Harris, really molded me more as I was growing up than anybody else. Xander Harris from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, not played by Matthew Perry. Just throwing that out there. That said, this is one of the formative actors that really kind of guided my understanding of comedic timing, and he had it in droves. And was a standout in an ensemble of standouts. So that's something I just wanted to kind of touch on. But what I want to do is just sort of do a rundown of 5 movies or TV shows to recommend if you are have never really experienced much of Matthew Perry's work. So I'm just going to sort of spitball them out there. 17 again is a more modern movie. I think it was from 2009, starring Zac Efron, who plays a 17-year-old version of Matthew Perry, and they sort of do a big situation where the clock rewinds backwards and he wakes up to become 17 again, and he finds ways to connect with his daughter, who I believe in the film was played by Michelle Trachtenberg, another Buffy connection there. But I digress. That's a very fun movie, very charming. He's not in a lot of it, however he has an impact throughout it. And Zac Efron, for what it's worth, really hits some of those same comedic beats, and you feel that he is a younger teenage version of Matthew Perry, completely believably so. Another movie worth seeing, and probably his most famous movie that he was in, is The Whole Nine Yards. It is a fantastic sort of mobster spoof movie starring him and Bruce Willis, with Amanda Peete and Natasha Henstridge. It is super good, super funny. Kevin Pollak is effing amazing in that film. It has early Michael Clark Duncan performance right before he kind of hit it big with The Green Mile. It is great. Easily Matthew Perry's finest film work, in the sense that the movie came together and works on all cylinders. It is funny as hell, and has like a emotional through line, not in that you're going to be brought to tears, but you connect with each of the characters and you're rooting for them and you want the story to play out a certain way, and feel vindicated when it does, while also still going about doing so in a very clever manner. The Whole Nine Yards is an excellent film. I'm also a fan of Fools Rush In. This was the first movie that I had seen him in post the success of Friends. And I thought it was charming. There's nothing that's gonna like win awards. It is a rom-com dramedy, if you will, starring him falling in love with Salma Hayek that I liked when it first came out. I remember going to see it in the theater with my parents, and I enjoyed it. And then when I, too, in real life, fell in love with a Latina woman, found a personal connection to it after the fact. There's certain elements of the film that definitely feel pretty authentic. But that's a cute, charming movie led by two incredibly charming actors in Matthew Perry and Salma Hayek. I also like, and I recognize it's not a particularly great movie, but I'm a fan of Three to Tango with Matthew Perry and Neve Campbell. I'm a huge Neve Campbell fan. She is one of my all-time favorite performers, and seeing her acting opposite of him, who I just adore, really worked for me. It's kind of the most basic rom-com you'll ever see. However, the charm of its performers elevates the film. The last movie I'm going to recommend to you isn't really a recommendation, but I have a fondness for it because before the film came out, I went to a Q&A with Bruce Campbell, and he was talking about working on that movie with Matthew Perry, and the film is called Serving Sara. Now, I believe this movie holds like a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is not a well-liked movie. Completely understandable. If I could describe the movie in a single word, it would probably be obnoxious. It's arguably an obnoxious movie. That said, I love Matthew Perry and I love Bruce Campbell. It is an immensely watchable film. Bruce Campbell, I will watch in anything, and believe me, I have. I've seen far too many sci-fi originals because of that man. But the beauty of Bruce Campbell is he seems to bring out the best of whoever he's acting with. And Matthew Perry is really quite good in that otherwise disposable movie. But I've been talking about a lot of like mid-movies, quote unquote. I want to talk to you about his best work. Now, he is always going to be recognized as Chandler Bing from Friends. Friends is a phenomenon that you rarely ever see and has only happened maybe 5 times since then in the realm of television. Matthew Perry is incredible in Friends. I love Friends. But I think his best work that he ever did is for, I believe it was an Aaron Sorkin show called Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. It lasted exactly 1 season, and it was circa 2005, 2006, I want to say. And it was amazing. It was my favorite thing on television at that time. It was so good, and I loved that show in the same way that I love Freaks and Geeks when that was on, and I was heralding that show as being amazing, and it too was canceled after a year. And I was hoping that this show would kind of get the spirit of Freaks and Geeks and like linger through time, but it seems to have mostly been forgotten. But it's Matthew Perry and Bradley Whitford acting opposite of each other, and it's hard drama. It is like aloof comedy, unexpected comedy in only the way that that dialogue could be written. And he is perfect in that show. Pitch perfect. It is his best performance work that I have seen, and I highly recommend you track down Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, and it's something that I've been meaning to rewatch. I have the DVD box set, and maybe now is a good time to revisit it on like an episodic basis. Let me know in the comments down below if you're interested in that. That said, I would be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit more about Friends. Friends is the role that he's going to be most associated with because it's the one most people have seen. And most people have seen it because it, similar to like I Love Lucy and The Dick Van Dyke Show and many classic pieces of film and television, has lingered well beyond the parameters that it originally existed in. Like, I think when they were initially making the show, they had no idea people would still be interested and so invested in it 30 years later. The fact that it has its own wing of the Warner Brothers Studio Lot Tour is really saying something, and that was something I got to go and visit last year, and I loved seeing that studio set up in that way, and they had like some of the outfits that the performers had, including his, and I was struck when I went at how much taller he was than I was expecting him to be, because everybody kind of looks generally the same size on the show. But yeah, his outfit was a lot like longer than I was anticipating. But he's hilarious in the show. Straight up, he is the funniest one. Usually in every episode there's going to be a pretty solid joke rate. I'd say he gets at least half of those jokes in an ensemble that's designed where all 6 of them are meant to be funny. I'd say he, on average, comes out with the most jokes, and I would say most of them land. Now, Friends is a show that has lasted even after it's relevant. Like, the show will live on forever because of when it came out at the dawn of the internet era and streaming and all that kind of stuff kicked off. Even though it's dated, even though it's a whitewash show set in one of the most diverse pockets of the United States you'll ever find, even though the humor has, we've even moved beyond to some extent, or to a lot of extents, it's still inarguably funny, and he's a core as to why that was. And that was something that if you watch the Friends reunion show, he really struggled with, because he felt that he had the onus of having to be the funniest one and having to get that reaction in every scene. So it's bittersweet knowing that, and then revisiting some of those episodes, having heard him talk about that, and seeing how hard he's really stressing to get to that point. And it's going to be a bittersweet show to rewatch hereafter. An important piece of the core of what makes it great is no longer with us, but that's also the beauty of film. We have forever these excellent performances, and as I say, his work on that show taught me so much about comedic timing and how he could pivot from comedy to drama, I think, smoother than some of the other castmates. I think the best performers on that show really were like him, Courtney Cox, David Schwimmer, were really incredibly strong right from the offset, and they all are incredible performers all the way across the board. But he really was a standout, and he will be missed. Let me know, what is your favorite performance of his in the comments down below, and if you have any good memories. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, and yeah, a toast to Matthew Perry. You will be missed.